Good morning, Year 1, and welcome to the second week of our maths lessons. So today we're starting looking at addition and subtraction, and we're going to be looking at how we can solve addition and subtraction numbers visually, although you could also use equipment to help you. But before we do that, we're going to be doing halves and quarters as usual, and then we're going to be moving on and checking how many different ways you can think of the meaning of sum and difference. So get your whiteboards and whiteboard pens together, and when you're ready, we'll get started. Okay, so as usual, you have a go at doing these, and when you're ready, grown-ups, start the video again and I'll go through the answers. So, welcome back. A half of 8 is 4. A quarter of 12, that's dividing 12 into 4 different sections, so that's 3 in each section. A quarter of 4 is 1, and a half of 6 is 3 plus 3. Half 14, 7 plus 7. A quarter of 20, that's putting 20 into 4 different sections, so there'll be 5 in each section, because 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 makes 20. Half of 6, 3. Quarter of 16 is 4. Now we're turning the sums round, but it doesn't matter, so a half of 18 is 9. And a quarter of 16, well, that's 4. Then we've got half of 26. So if we did that with tens and ones, we'd end up with 2 tens, 6 ones. We put 1 10 in each pile and 3 ones in each pile to give you 13. And a quarter of 8 is 2. And the last ones we're turning round, so we're saying we're putting 6 in each section, so that's 12. Putting 3 in each section, so that's 6. We're putting 2 in 4 sections, so that's 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, so that's 8. And the last one, 3 in each section, 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 12. Well done, Year 1. I bet you did brilliant with those. And now on to the main part of today's lesson. Okay, so we're going to be using 2 words today, and here's the first one. This is a type of calculation. If you can think of the sign that's used for it, and if you can think of any other words we use meaning the same as sum, and tell your grown-ups, and then when you're ready, we'll have a look at what I've come up with. So well done. Hopefully you've got the idea that this sum means add. So the sign is the plus sign. It also means more. It means to increase a number. To make, this when you put two numbers together. Total of 2 numbers. And all together, that could be if there's 3 or 4 or 5 numbers even. So that's all the different ways you can say add at this stage. Now we're going to have a look at our second word, and that is difference. So tell your grown-ups what kind of a sum difference is, and as a clue, it's the opposite of addition. Okay, welcome back. Let's see what you've got. So it means subtract. The sign is the subtraction sign, the minus sign. You also could use the word minus. You could use the term decrease. You could use the term take away. You could leave or less. All of these means finding the difference between 2 numbers. Okay, so well done. Okay, so we're going to use these terms today with a number of different visual representations. So the first thing is, what is the sum of these 2 bead strings? So what we need to do is find out how many there are altogether. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the sum would be 10. Now, can you remember how we did the difference when we did bars before half term? What we did was we drew a cross. And what we could do is we could cross off if we wanted to, like we used to do earlier in Year 1, and see how many are left over. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the difference is 4. So there are a series of problems now for you to have a go at. And each time, grown-ups, I'm going to pause about 5 seconds before I go through them, giving you a chance to stop the video, have a go at the sum on the whiteboards, and then see how you've done. So here's the first question. What is the difference between these two bead strings? And what's the sum of these two bead strings? Okay, so what's the difference between them? Well, the difference is drawing across here. So those are all the same. The difference then is 2. What's the sum? That's a lot harder, but we can actually use the colours here because we know that on a bead string that's 10 and that's 10, so that's 20. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's a big number, isn't it, year one? Okay, we've got a different one to do this time. And the sum and difference of these sets of drums. Okay, so finding the sum, we need to count the drums. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then the difference, we draw across. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 being the difference. Okay, next problem. Find the sum and difference between these piles of crackers. So the sum is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 added to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is a total of 10, 11, 12, 13. So the sum is 13. The difference, I bet you can guess, draw it across, and we've got the difference of 3. Now obviously if it helps you, you could be making piles of these, you could be using counters and lining them up however you find it useful, but you may be able to just see it from the screen. Okay, next one, find the sum and difference between these two sets of gingerbread men. Now these have helped you by actually telling you how many there are. So the sum would be 4 plus 9, which equals 13, and the difference would be we always start with a bigger number when we do a subtraction, 5. Okay, but you could just check that by drawing down here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Next one, find the sum and difference between the two sets of ice cream cones, and again they've told you their values. So the first calculation is 16 plus 13. Well, how I tend to do this is with tens and ones. So I've got two 10 bars, which gives me an answer of 20, and I've got 9 ones. Okay, and then finding the difference, well, I would actually do this visually, and just the difference is 3, because that's a lot easier than doing 16 minus 13, which equals 3. Okay, these caterpillar segments we need to count. Well, it's given you the answer already, and it's not actually that hard if you use 10 bars, because you've got two 10 bars, and then you add into two 10 bars another 10 bar, which takes it to 30, and 3. So this sum is 20 plus 13, which equals 33. And the difference is 20 minus 13, sorry, which equals, let's find out, draw down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And now we've got a bit of a challenge. Now I'm going to leave you, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to do this, 5 seconds to look at this, and then I'll move on to the next one. So grown-ups, what do we know? I'm thinking of two numbers less than 10. One of my numbers is 2, so we know that. The sum of both my numbers equals 8. The difference equals 4. Well, the difference equals 4 doesn't really matter too much, but we know that 2 plus 6 equals 8. And we could check it by doing 6 minus 2, which does equal 4. So my other number is 6. Okay, next one is a bit trickier. It's all right. These points, these are just robot challenges. You don't need to do them if you don't want to. But again, I'll give you a few seconds to pause the video and then we'll go through. Okay, so I'm thinking of two numbers less than 10. Their difference is 6 and their sum is 10. So what I need is probably to use counters or beads. What I'm looking for is something that gives me a difference of 6 and something that gives me a total of 10. Well, I could do it by trial and improve. So 1 plus 9 gives you 10, but there's a gap there of 8. What about 2 plus 8? Well, let's find out. That works. What about 8 minus 2 equals 6? That looks like that's right. So my two numbers are 8 and 2. And here's a final one. I'm not going to go through this one, but if you want to send in the answers, the robots will check them for you. Okay, so that's the end of today's maths lesson. Well done, you one. That's absolutely brilliant.